9 indicators that a soul has entered its final earth cycle. You may have felt at some point a quiet stirring deep within, a sense that life is more than the moments you see, more than the routines you follow, that somewhere beneath the surface of your daily existence, your soul moves in rhythms you cannot always perceive. These rhythms, subtle as they are, have been observed by those who walked the bridge between the visible and the unseen. One such guide was Edgar Cayce, often called the sleeping prophet, who spent a lifetime listening not with his ears, but with his inner vision. Cayce described the soul's journey as a series of unfoldings, each step gently preparing the spirit for greater understanding. He spoke of attunement, how the soul, in alignment with its own inner wisdom, begins to sense patterns, echoes, and energies that point toward higher awareness. His readings often reveal a tender truth, that suffering is rarely punishment. Instead, it is a doorway, a kind of initiation. A soft, invisible threshold that asks the soul to stretch, to recognize its own strength, and to awaken to love. As you listen now, allow yourself to feel Cayce's perspective not as doctrine, but as a mirror, a reflection of the possibilities that exist for any soul moving through time. You do not need to follow his words blindly. You only need to notice the resonance in your own heart. How do your inner sensations respond? What truths feel familiar, even if they are just emerging into your awareness? He emphasized the sovereignty of the soul, the ultimate freedom you carry in every choice, every thought, every breath. The readings invite you to watch, to notice, to witness yourself navigating this life, not as a victim of circumstance, but as a traveler guided by an intelligence greater than immediate perception. Even in uncertainty, there is guidance. Even in confusion, there is pattern. Even in loss, there is a subtle invitation toward growth. Cayce also spoke of the signals the soul gives when approaching important thresholds. These signs are rarely dramatic. They may arrive as a dream that lingers, a memory that surfaces, a subtle sense of pull toward reflection or stillness. They are personal, they are intimate, they are never imposed, and yet, when observed, they can illuminate the path ahead with astonishing clarity. As you hear this, imagine yourself standing at the edge of a quiet lake at sunrise. Mist rises from the water. Light bends gently across its surface. The stillness asks only that you notice, that you breathe, that you become attuned. This is the essence of Cayce's approach: careful observation, patient reflection, and compassionate recognition of your own inner signals. In this chapter of your journey, the lens of Edgar Cayce serves not as instruction, but as invitation to notice the patterns in your own life, to honor the rhythms of your soul, to feel the guidance that has always been there, quietly whispering, patiently waiting, allowing you to awaken in your own time. And as we move forward, you may begin to see how these subtle truths weave into the broader tapestry of your existence. How the soul, ever sovereign, begins to signal its readiness for deeper transitions, for final cycles, for the moments that shape eternity. You may wonder what it means for a soul to enter its final cycle on earth. The phrase alone can stir a quiet reverence or perhaps a subtle unease. Yet what it truly signifies is not an ending in fear, but a deep, sacred transition. A moment in time where your spirit, refined by countless experiences, begins to focus on lessons of completion, of integration, of love in its purest form. Imagine, for a moment, standing at the edge of a vast hall. The walls are lined with mirrors, each reflecting a fragment of your life, your choices, your joys, your mistakes, and your triumphs. Some mirrors shimmer with clarity, others ripple with shadows, yet every reflection, every nuance is here to guide, not to judge. This is the essence of the final earth cycle, the soul moving through thresholds that ask, have you remembered yourself fully? According to Edgar Cayce, the soul's journey is like a divine sequence, unfolding in a rhythm both intimate and expansive. There are stages, subtle signals, and recurring patterns. There are guides, both seen and unseen, who offer gentle nudges. There are moments when the path may appear unclear, yet each pause, each reflection contains a whisper of purpose. In this sequence, nothing is forced. The soul remains sovereign, free to observe, to choose, to integrate. The 9 indicators we will explore are signposts along this sequence. They are not rules nor rigid markers of judgment. Think of them as lights along a forest path, sometimes faint, sometimes glowing clearly through the mist. Each one invites your attention, encouraging you to pause, to notice, to feel the subtle shift within yourself. As you follow these signs, you begin to perceive the rhythm of the soul, how it moves toward clarity, toward reconciliation, toward love that transcends time. Picture a river at dawn. The waters are calm yet constantly flowing. The current carries reflections of the sky, the trees, the stones beneath the surface. You can step into the water and feel its gentle pull. You do not need to rush. You only need to notice. This is how your own journey unfolds in the final cycle, not with urgency, but with attentive presence. Each reflection, each threshold is both instruction and invitation. There is an elegance in this design. Every challenge, every pattern, every guiding sign is woven into a tapestry larger than your immediate understanding. You are part of a sequence that has spanned lifetimes. And in this cycle, the soul is being asked to step closer to its own essence, to recognize the love that has always been the quiet undercurrent beneath all experience. As you prepare to explore the first signs, allow yourself to release expectation. These indicators are not absolutes. They are invitations to awareness, to reflection, to noticing how your own soul speaks in subtle ways. And yet, what happens next is even more mysterious. There comes a moment, quiet, almost imperceptible, when the soul begins to stir in ways you may barely notice. It is not an alarm nor a crisis. It is a threshold, a subtle shift, like the soft light of dawn brushing against the edges of your awareness. You may feel a gentle detachment from patterns that once felt necessary. Ordinary routines might start to feel hollow. Certain relationships or ambitions may no longer resonate in the same way, and yet there is no judgment here, no pressure. Only an invitation to notice. You may begin to sense the weight of time differently. Life events may seem to repeat themselves or mirror one another in curious ways. Dreams may linger longer, carrying vivid symbols or quiet messages. A recurring feeling of longing may surface, a pull toward meaning that feels bigger than your current understanding. These are the soul's soft tests, tender signals that something within you is shifting. Edgar Cayce spoke often of these early stirrings. He described them as the soul's gentle nudges, subtle alerts that the spirit is ready to awaken to a higher level of awareness. They are not signs of failure or loss. They are thresholds, moments where reflection becomes more important than action, where introspection becomes a sacred tool, where noticing your own inner currents is itself a form of guidance. Imagine walking through a forest at dawn. Mist drifts between the trees. Light spills in fragments across the path. Each step you take is careful, deliberate, attentive. Some paths are clear, some obscured, and yet each step brings a quiet clarity. In this way, your soul begins to signal its readiness through pauses, through curiosity, through the gentle awakening of reflection. These early thresholds may manifest as emotional subtlety. Perhaps you find yourself more sensitive to beauty or to suffering. Perhaps old attachments begin to feel heavy, or the urge to simplify becomes stronger. Even mundane experiences, a song, a conversation, a morning ritual may carry an unusual resonance. The soul is attuning itself, quietly and without fanfare, to the rhythm of its next stage. You may also notice a subtle internal questioning, questions that arise not out of anxiety, but from curiosity. Questions about purpose, about direction, about the meaning behind ordinary life events. In dreams, these questions might appear as symbols, bridges, doors, rivers, or light spilling through a narrow opening. Pay attention. These dreams, these inklings, are part of the soul's language. They are invitations to notice patterns, to recognize thresholds, to prepare for deeper understanding. There is no rush here. There is only observation, only listening, only feeling the quiet stirrings of your inner self. Even moments of discomfort, restlessness, uncertainty, mild grief can be reframed. They are initiations, subtle reminders that the soul is preparing for its next stage. A stage where reflection becomes insight and insight becomes clarity. As you recognize these signs, allow yourself to witness them without judgment. Allow the stillness to wash over you. Notice how your thoughts settle differently, how your heart may open to subtle guidance you once overlooked. This is the threshold phase, the awakening of awareness that will prepare you for the passages to come. And yet what happens next is even more profound. The mirrors begin to appear. The reflections of your life, your choices, your inner truths start to take shape in ways that cannot be ignored. The first passage awaits, and with it, the deeper lessons of your final earth cycle. As your awareness awakens, you begin to notice reflections, subtle, persistent, quietly insistent. These are the mirrors of your life. They may appear in recurring patterns, in relationships that echo familiar dynamic. In situations that feel strangely familiar, even when circumstances change. They are not coincidences. They are gentle invitations to look deeper, to observe without judgment, to see yourself as the traveler you are. In this first passage, the soul begins its earliest self-evaluation. You may recall moments where choices repeated themselves, where lessons seemed unfinished, where your heart responded in ways that surprised even you. These mirrors do not accuse. They do not demand correction. They merely ask you to notice, to recognize the rhythms of your own life, and to feel the resonance of each action, each thought, each connection. Edgar Cayce described these passages as the soul's natural checkpoints, moments of reflection that prepare you for greater clarity. They are thresholds, not tests in the ordinary sense. You are not being measured. You are being invited to witness, to understand, and to integrate. Each mirror, each reflection, carries a fragment of purpose, waiting to be recognized. Imagine standing before a still lake at twilight. The surface is smooth, reflecting the sky, the trees, the mountains beyond. You peer into it and see not only the landscape, but your own face, your expressions, your gestures, the subtle lines of experience. The lake does not judge, it only mirrors. In this same way, your life begins to offer images of your inner self. Relationships, recurring challenges, joys, and disappointments all hold a quiet, instructive clarity. As you observe, patterns start to emerge. Perhaps you notice a tendency to repeat behaviors that no longer serve you. Perhaps certain connections evoke strong emotions that hint at unresolved lessons. These reflections are gentle. They are not burdens. They are the first threads connecting awareness to purpose. Each moment you recognize a pattern, each insight you glean, is a small step toward understanding the deeper currents of your soul. The first passage also introduces the subtle guidance that will accompany the rest of your journey. You may feel nudges in dreams, flashes of intuition, or the quiet voice of conscience that was always there, patiently waiting. These signals are part of the mirrors themselves. They point not outward, but inward. They encourage self-examination, compassion, and the readiness to move through the next thresholds with clarity and grace. Consider this a meditation. Let yourself breathe slowly. Imagine walking along a corridor of mirrors. With each reflection, you pause, noticing the details, your reactions, your patterns, your choices. Some reflections shine with warmth, others shimmer with shadow, and yet all are instructive. All are part of the soul's first passage. As you begin to connect these reflections to the larger rhythm of your life, you may feel a quiet shift in perspective, a realization that each pattern, each repeated experience is not random. It is part of a divine orchestration, subtly guiding you toward purpose, toward alignment, toward understanding. And as you step away from these mirrors, carrying the insight they offer, you feel the gentle pull of guides and signals awaiting your attention. They beckon softly, quietly, offering glimpses of the lessons ahead. The journey continues. The next phase will deepen your awareness even further, revealing not only the mirrors, but the hidden pathways that connect them. As you step beyond the mirrors of your first passage, you may begin to sense guidance appearing, quiet, subtle, and often almost imperceptible. These are the signs of presence. The soul never walks alone, yet the companionship is never forced. It is offered, not imposed. You may feel it as a whisper in the mind, a sudden insight that seems to arrive without effort, or as a fleeting vision in a dream, vivid yet delicate, holding meaning you can only begin to sense. Synchronicities may also appear, moments where the world seems to bend around you, gently nudging you toward awareness. A song that resonates unexpectedly, a book that falls into your hands at precisely the right time, a phrase overheard that lights a spark in your heart. These are not coincidences. They are the universe's way of pointing softly toward the deeper path of your soul. And yet, you always retain choice. Guidance is illuminating, never coercive. You may follow it, explore it, or simply observe it. The sovereignty of the soul is always preserved. Mentors, guides, and elders, both in spirit and in life, may begin to appear as well. They may not always be visible in the ordinary sense. Sometimes they arrive in the form of a kind word, a gentle challenge, or the comforting presence of someone who simply sees your truth. Their purpose is to reflect, to illuminate, and to awaken what you may not yet notice in yourself. They point toward potential, toward clarity, toward the lessons your soul is ready to embrace. Consider a quiet night sky, far from the noise of the world. Stars flicker in constellations that have guided travel. For millennia, some points of light are obvious, others are dim, nearly invisible, yet still present. Each one can lead you if you are willing to notice. In the same way, the signs of guidance often appear where you least expect them, requiring attunement and presence. They may pass quickly, they may linger for only a heartbeat, and yet each carries a message if you are awake enough to perceive it. Dreams often act as a primary channel for these signals. You may experience vivid imagery, symbols, or interactions with figures who seem to embody wisdom beyond words. Cayce often noted that dreams are a bridge between your conscious mind and the higher self, a canvas on which the soul paints its guidance. Sometimes these messages are direct, sometimes enigmatic, calling for contemplation and intuition. They invite you to practice discernment, to notice patterns, and to honor the inner knowing that surfaces naturally. The subtlety of guidance can be both beautiful and elusive. You may feel its presence as a quiet tug in your chest, a gentle resonance that aligns with a decision you are already considering, or as a moment of clarity that arrives after a period of confusion, a still point in which you recognize a truth you had always known, yet never fully acknowledged. These are gifts of insight offered freely to help you navigate the passages ahead. And yet the most important truth is this: the soul remains sovereign. No guidance, no signal, no mentor can override your choice. You are free to follow, to question, or to pause. In this freedom lies both responsibility and empowerment. It is your discernment, your receptivity, your willingness to notice that transforms signs into illumination. As you attune to these subtle presences, a quiet suspense builds. The mirrors of your past and present converge with the signs before you, pointing toward the next phase of learning. the soul begins to recognize the threads that connect awareness, reflection, and guidance. And in this recognition, a profound sense of intimacy emerges, an understanding that you are accompanied, yet entirely free, as your journey continues into the deeper corridors of purpose. And so, with awareness sharpened and guidance acknowledged, you step forward, ready to enter the learning grounds where the lessons of the final Earth cycle take form. Here, the soul begins to encounter its teachers, its records, its sacred spaces. And with each step, the sequence unfolds, as mysterious as it is illuminated. As you move beyond the subtle signs and gentle guidance of the previous phase, you arrive at a space that is both intimate and vast, a temple of records, a hall of reflection where the soul meets itself in clarity. Imagine a place suspended between worlds, where light filters softly through crystalline arches, dust motes drifting like tiny stars. This is the learning ground of your final Earth cycle, a sanctuary of insight where past choices, patterns, and experiences are laid out before you, not as judgment, but as mirrors for understanding. Here the soul encounters its own journey. You may sense layers unfolding, moments of brilliance, moments of missteps, each held within a field of compassion. According to Edgar Cayce's vision, the Akashic space is not a ledger of guilt, but a living record of your evolution. It is a place where lessons are revealed gently, where your heart can expand into awareness without fear. The purpose is not to punish, but to illuminate. The patterns you once overlooked, the decisions that seemed small or inconsequential, now appear as threads weaving a tapestry of growth and preparation. Close your eyes, if you will, and imagine yourself standing at the threshold of this temple. You feel a soft vibration underfoot, a pulse that resonates with your own inner rhythm. As you step forward, concentric ripples of light respond to your presence. Here, symbols may arise, not words, not judgments, but intuitive images that speak directly to your heart. Perhaps a river of light reveals the cycles you have lived, the echoes of relationships, choices, and actions that shaped your soul. Perhaps a hall lined with mirrors shows reflections of your intentions, magnified and clarified. You are invited to witness, to recognize, and to understand. Learning here is experiential. You may feel emotions arise, regret, longing, love, awe, but each is held within a supportive, loving field. There is no shame. Every insight is offered as a tool, a key to unlock deeper comprehension of yourself and your path. You might notice recurring themes across lifetimes or within this life, patterns that appear in relationships, decisions, or even in your subtle intuitions. Cayce often described these experiences as opportunities for attunement, the soul aligning with its higher self, drawing wisdom from what has already been lived. This is also a space of experimentation, of gentle testing. You may be invited to reconsider decisions, to imagine alternative pathways, or to feel the consequences of actions with new empathy. And yet there is no force. The temple is a guide, not a dictator. It allows you to explore freely, to revisit moments with curiosity rather than fear. Your awareness deepens with each step, each observation, each quiet reflection. Guided visualization can enhance this connection. Picture a central chamber bathed in golden light. Around you, shelves or streams of luminescent energy hold experiences from your life, each waiting to be seen, understood, and integrated. As you approach one, allow your attention to rest gently, observing without judgment. Notice the lessons hidden in ordinary moments. Sense the thread that connects them. Feel the love that underlies the teaching, the intention of growth that guides every revelation. And yet, what happens next is even more mysterious. The records do not merely show, you begin to feel the interconnections, the way each choice resonates, how each life informs the next. There is a quiet majesty here, a reverence for your journey. The temple reminds you that knowledge is not the goal, understanding is not the end. Growth, attunement, and love are the true purposes. As you step away from this hall of insight, carry the awareness that the soul's evolution is sacred. The patterns revealed are not burdens. They are invitations to act consciously, to live with attention, and to prepare for the choices that lie ahead. The learning ground has given you clarity. It has offered you reflection without shame. It has reminded you that even the most challenging lessons are held within love and purpose. And now, with the temple behind you and the threads of your journey more visible than ever, you move toward the next phase, the recognition of patterns that have echoed across lifetimes, the weaving of memory into purpose, and the deepening of your understanding of choice. As you step beyond the quiet revelations of the temple, a new awareness begins to unfold. You start to sense threads, delicate, almost imperceptible, stretching across the span of your life. These threads are more than memory, they are echoes, ripples of choices, intentions, and experiences that have carried forward across years, perhaps even lifetimes. This is the phase of pattern memory. Here, the soul sees its own interwoven narrative, the repeated motifs that shape its journey. Imagine standing in a hall of faintly glowing streams, each stream a life lived, a decision made, a lesson learned. You may see moments mirrored, choices that felt small but bore great significance. Relationships that challenged you, guided you, reflected something essential. According to Edgar Cayce, such patterns are the soul's way of teaching itself, revealing the recurring lessons that must be understood before transition. There is no blame here, only clarity, only recognition. Each echo is an invitation to see, to understand, and to integrate. Close your eyes and feel these threads around you, connecting past to present, action to consequence, love to understanding. Perhaps you recognize similar circumstances revisiting your life. Perhaps familiar faces, challenges, or opportunities appear again, urging you to notice, to respond consciously. The soul does not repeat mistakes as punishment. It offers repetition as a sacred teacher. In seeing these interconnections, you gain perspective. You begin to perceive the underlying rhythm of your life, the gentle pulse guiding you toward completion, toward the final cycle's purpose. This is also a space of healing. Patterns that once seemed frustrating, unjust, or confusing now unfold with clarity. You may feel a soft peace as the repetitive lessons reveal themselves not as burdens, but as pathways to understanding and maturity. Cayce often emphasized that the soul's recognition of these connections brings reconciliation with self, with others, and with the broader tapestry of life. You are learning to honor each thread, each echo, each reflection as sacred. Guided visualization can deepen this recognition. Picture yourself walking along a luminous bridge spanning time and space. Beneath you, streams of light trace the arcs of your previous choices. Notice how they intersect, how they converge, forming patterns of cause and effect. Feel the beauty of their alignment, the quiet harmony emerging from what once seemed chaotic. Allow yourself to linger at points of particular resonance, moments that taught, challenged, or awakened your spirit. Observe without judgment, absorbing understanding rather than critique. And yet the clarity you gain here is not static. It moves, it flows, it grows. You may notice that certain patterns carry the seed of your next steps, vows to uphold, gifts to cultivate, love to extend. The interwoven lives are a map, subtle and profound, guiding your choices in the present moment with insight born from reflection. Awareness here is both gentle and profound. The soul sees not only the journey taken, but the guidance for the journey ahead. By recognizing these patterns, you also awaken compassion for yourself, for others, for the cycles that brought both challenge and joy. You may feel an expanded empathy for those who played roles in your story, understanding their part in the greater mosaic. You realize that life is never linear, never singular. It is an intricate dance of interconnections, all guiding the soul toward its highest attunement. And so you move forward with a quiet confidence. The threads you perceive are not burdens, they are signposts. They illuminate the way to conscious choice, to intentional living, and to preparation for what lies beyond this final cycle. In seeing your interwoven lives, you feel clarity, you feel peace, and you feel love. The love that underlies all experience, all repetition, all growth. As this phase draws to a close, you carry with you a sense of profound continuity. Your past, your present, your emerging future all interlace into a coherent pattern. You are no longer merely living, you are observing, integrating, attuning. The soul has begun to recognize its own sacred architecture, and with that recognition comes a readiness for the next phase. Deliberate choice, conscious vows, and the embrace of agency in your final cycle. As you move deeper into the unfolding journey, a quiet realization begins to settle within you. The threads you have traced, the patterns you have recognized, the guidance you have glimpsed, they all converge now, forming a crossroads of the soul. This is the moment of choice, the architecture of your final cycle. It is not a pressure, it is an invitation, and in this space you are sovereign. Imagine standing before three luminous pathways, each bathed in soft, radiant light. One path invites integration, bringing together all the lessons, all the echoes of past lives, and uniting them into clarity and peace. Another path offers release, the gentle letting go of attachments, illusions, and patterns that no longer serve your growth. The third path points toward preparation, a deliberate attunement for the soul's final transition, a sacred readiness to step beyond the cycle you have known. None of these paths are wrong, none are imposed. They exist for you to choose with awareness, with consent, with love. According to Edgar Cayce, the soul is always presented with the freedom to respond. Guidance is offered, signs appear, but the choice itself belongs entirely to you. Each decision carries its own subtle weight, its own quiet cost and profound payoff. Integration asks for reflection and courage, the willingness to see your life whole, to honor every joy and sorrow as sacred. Release asks for surrender, for a gentle detachment that clears the way for what is truly essential. A preparation asks for presence, discipline, and openness, a readiness to move fully into the next stage of existence. Close your eyes and visualize yourself walking along one of these paths. Feel the texture beneath your feet, the air around you, the subtle warmth of the light. Notice the calm that arises when the choice is made freely without fear. Sense how love guides each step, acting as a compass more reliable than logic or obligation. There is no rush. There is no judgment. Only this moment and the sacred responsibility of knowing that each path leads ultimately toward growth, understanding, and peace. This architecture of choice is not merely a map of action, it is a map of the heart. It asks you to recognize the stakes, yes, but more importantly, to recognize the value of consent, of intention, of alignment with your own inner truth. Every pathway contains its lessons, every turn its beauty. You may pause, you may step back, you may breathe deeply. And yet the act of choosing, even silently, even inwardly, awakens a clarity that the soul has long awaited. There is also a subtle interplay between risk and reward. Integration may bring emotional labor, the willingness to confront the shadows of your life, but it also brings profound resolution. Release may feel like letting go, even of comfort, but it opens space for freedom. Preparation may require patience and vigilance, but it prepares you to embrace your next phase with strength and serenity. Each path asks for conscious engagement, not passive passage. And in recognizing this, you feel the weight of love itself supporting your steps. Guided visualization can deepen this understanding. Imagine a radiant hand, not of another, but of your own higher self, gently guiding you toward the path that resonates most. Observe how your heart responds. Notice the alignment of mind, body, and spirit when choice is made consciously. You may sense relief, anticipation, gratitude, or simply the quiet settling of the soul into its own authority. All are natural responses. All are sacred markers of awakening. By the close of this phase, you recognize something essential. Choice is a mirror of love, the soul's movement toward its final cycle is not coerced, not dictated, not earned through fear or obligation. It is selected through awareness, through resonance, through the gentle affirmation of your own sovereignty. You are empowered, you are guided, you are free. And as you step forward along the path you have chosen, the next chapters of your journey await, those that show how these choices ripple outward, affecting your living experience, your relationships, and your own perception of what it means to be fully awake, fully aligned, and fully present in this sacred final cycle. As you step from the sacred architecture of choice into the rhythm of everyday life, you may wonder, how does the soul's awareness translate into the living, breathing world? How do these profound inner shifts find expression in your daily routine? This chapter is an invitation to bring the invisible into presence, to honor the signs you have encountered, and to integrate them with gentle, conscious practices. Begin with the simplest act, noticing. Observe your thoughts, your emotions, and your surroundings with the quiet curiosity of a child discovering a hidden garden. Pay attention to the subtle nudges of intuition, the fleeting symbols in dreams, the moments that linger in memory. According to Cayce, these signals are not random. They are invitations, soft touchstones guiding the soul toward alignment. They are your personal compass, tuned by your own frequency of awareness. One practical way to honor this guidance is through mindfulness. You do not need elaborate rituals or strict schedules. Simply create moments of presence throughout your day. A few deep breaths upon waking. A pause before responding in conversation. A deliberate walk through nature, noticing the light, the breeze, the sound of water, the shifting shadows. These small practices allow the mind to settle, the heart to open, and the soul's subtle signals to be recognized. Dream journaling is another tool. Record the images, feelings, and symbols that arise in your dreams. Over time, patterns will emerge. You may notice recurring themes, gentle lessons, or reminders that speak directly to your current phase. These reflections are not meant to alarm or overwhelm. They are mirrors, softly reflecting your inner landscape. Writing them down transforms fleeting impressions into tangible guidance, giving you clarity without pressure. Energy attunement, as described by Cayce, is also essential. This need not be complicated. Imagine aligning your own body, mind, and spirit like tuning the strings of an instrument. You might visualize your energy flowing freely, like a stream of light moving through your limbs, your heart, your mind. Feel how blockages dissolve, how warmth spreads, how your inner landscape shifts toward equilibrium. Each breath becomes a thread connecting you to your deeper self, to the guidance that is always present, even when unseen. And yet the key is patience. Integration is not a race. It is a slow unfolding. The soul does not demand perfection, it invites attention. Small, consistent acts of presence cultivate a sense of safety, clarity, and alignment. They remind you that the signs you have received, the reflections in relationships, the patterns in life, the whispers of intuition, are not mere coincidences. They are part of a larger, sacred design, gently guiding you toward your final cycle. Visualize this daily attunement as a soft light expanding around you, a glow that touches every corner of your being. With each mindful breath, with each observation, with each quiet reflection, your inner world grows more coherent, more harmonious, more aligned with the eternal self that resides beneath all change. There is no rush. There is no expectation. Only the unfolding of awareness, step by step, day by day. Now take a moment to imagine incorporating one small practice into your life. Perhaps a morning pause, a short meditation, a nightly journal. Feel the shift in your posture, your attention, your heart. This is how the soul's journey touches the tangible world, transforming ordinary moments into sacred milestones. And in doing so, you honor not only the signs of your current cycle, but the continuity of your soul's evolution, echoing across lifetimes and guiding the path ahead. As you move forward, remember, integration is both gentle and powerful. By observing, reflecting, and attuning, you create a bridge between your inner wisdom and your outer life. And yet, what happens next? The deepening of empathy, the encounter with future selves, is even more subtle, even more transformative. This is the threshold to the next chapter, where the soul's journey touches the hearts of others, and your awareness expands into shared resonance. You may find yourself thinking of someone you love, a parent, a friend, a mentor, whose journey feels like it is nearing its culmination on this plane. Perhaps you have felt the subtle shifts, the signs that their soul is approaching the threshold of completion. And with awareness comes the weight of human emotion, grief, concern, even the fear of loss. These feelings are natural, essential markers of your own connection to them, but they need not cloud your clarity or your heart. According to Cayce, the soul's final cycle is not a punishment nor a tragic ending. It is a phase of fulfillment, of preparation, of gentle release. And in witnessing this, you are called to a sacred role, that of the compassionate observer. You do not need to intervene or to control. You are asked only to be present, to honor the journey unfolding before you with awareness, tenderness, and love. Begin by allowing yourself to acknowledge your grief fully and without judgment. Let the tears, the tightness in your chest, the quiet ache of absence exist alongside your understanding of the soul's greater path. This dual awareness of human loss and spiritual continuity is not contradictory. It is the space where empathy blooms. You can hold both sorrow and reverence at once. Imagine for a moment that you are standing in a quiet forest at dawn. Mist curls around the trees. The air is cool and still. In this place, you can visualize your loved one not as diminished by change, but as stepping lightly into their next phase. Their soul is expansive, whole, and unburdened by the limitations of the physical body. You are permitted, even invited, to feel the quiet peace that accompanies this truth. One way to support them energetically is through intentional reflection. Speak softly to your heart. I see your journey. I honor your passage. I am here in presence and love. You need not vocalize these words aloud. Their power lies in the intention behind them, the awareness that your connection transcends form. Your empathy, your witness, becomes a conduit for comfort and for understanding. Consider reframing grief as sacred participation. Each wave of sorrow is also a reminder of love shared, of lessons exchanged, of the intricate patterns that bind you together across lifetimes. Instead of resisting the feelings, let them guide you to presence. Let them deepen your awareness of the preciousness of each moment, each touch, each conversation. Cayce often emphasized that those who are aware of the soul's path are not separate from it. Your recognition, your observation, your prayerful presence subtly supports the alignment of your loved one's soul. You are, in essence, a guardian of awareness, a quiet witness to transformation, not a manager of outcomes. Now take a deep breath and imagine the light of understanding spreading from your heart to theirs. With each inhale, you draw in compassion. With each exhale, you release fear and resistance. See grief soften into gentle care, into a stillness that does not demand, but simply holds. You are both participants and observers in this sacred dance, coexisting in a space of love and reflection. And as this chapter closes, know that the act of witnessing, without panic, without forcing, without guilt, is itself a profound form of service. Your heart may ache, yet it expands. Your love remains unbroken. And in this awareness, you cultivate the inner peace that will carry you into the next module, where your own soul's journey calls you to courage, acceptance, and imaginative exploration. Now turn your attention inward. Allow yourself to imagine your own soul at a point far along its journey, where the lessons of this final earth cycle are complete. Picture yourself bathed in a gentle light, standing at the threshold of clarity and understanding. You are whole, present, and unburdened by fear. This is your future self, not a distant ideal, but a tangible presence within the continuum of your soul. In this moment, notice the qualities that arise. There is courage, not as brash defiance, but as quiet strength. There is acceptance, not resignation, but a deep, unwavering trust in the path you have traveled. There is freedom, not from responsibility, but from the anxieties that once weighed heavily on your heart. Let yourself feel these qualities as if they already belong to you. Cayce often described the soul's journey as one of self-reclamation, a process of remembering the divine essence within. As you visualize your future self, consider what it would take to meet that being with respect and compassion. What fears would you need to release? What attachments could you let go of? What choices would you embrace fully, knowing they are aligned with your highest self? Imagine walking through a serene landscape, perhaps a quiet beach at dawn or a forest path kissed by morning mist. With each step, you feel a sense of balance, each footfall a metaphor for the choices you have made, the challenges you have faced, and the wisdom you have gathered. In this visualization, time is gentle. There is no rush, no judgment, only presence and awareness. Allow yourself to hear the quiet guidance of your future self. Perhaps a phrase comes, soft and resonant. You are ready. You are racine. You are free to choose with love. Let this affirmation sink into your being. Let it remind you that courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to move forward despite it. Acceptance is not surrender, but recognition of the natural unfolding of your soul's path. As you dwell in this vision, notice the sense of agency it brings. You are not a passive observer of your life, but an active participant in shaping the meaning and intention of every experience. Your future self invites you to embrace this moment, to act with integrity, compassion, and conscious awareness. Every choice, even small, is a brushstroke on the canvas of your soul's expression. Feel now a gentle warmth expanding through your chest, a radiant pulse of love and understanding. This is the same love that underpins all spiritual awakening, the same energy that Cayce described as the foundation of soul evolution. It is patient. It is steady. It does not demand, but simply is. You may carry it forward not just for yourself, but for all those whose paths intertwine with yours. And as this visualization softens, bring your attention back to the present moment. Yet, do so with the knowledge that courage and acceptance are qualities already within you. They are accessible at any moment. Your future self is a reminder. You have the capacity to meet each challenge, to embrace each choice, and to honor the soul that you are. Take a deep breath and feel the calm resilience of your being. Know that the journey is ongoing, but you are never alone. You are accompanied by your own inner wisdom, by love that transcends fear, and by the infinite unfolding of your consciousness. And as you step gently from this meditation, carry the serenity, courage, and acceptance of your future self into every action, every thought, every breath. With this awareness, you are prepared to move into the next chapter, the integration of love and attunement, where the culmination of understanding transforms into the deepest, most sustaining form of presence.